Hello everyone, this is Mark with Timber by Mark. This is part 3 of the 5 foot by 4 foot Purple Heart frame. We're going to start off with gluing the inlay. As previous, we cut in a dado for a 1-inch zebra wood inlay. Today we're going to glue it in, and I use lots of glue because I do not want this thing moving. So I use acid-free brush and really spread the glue liberally, and then tap it in with a piece of scrap wood to not mar up my surface. And I really clamp it in, get the squeeze out. As you can see, it's still kind of popping out there, but I leave quite a bit out so I can take it down about 1/8 of an inch. And here I am just leveling it down flush to the Purple Heart surface. And I take my time doing it because zebra wood has some really crazy grain and it goes back and forth. And I use H&T Gordon planes that have a really fine mouth opening, and they can basically plane both ways, but with the grain is still the best. Here's a picture of how pretty it'll look. Now, the French cleat, we had to think of a way to hang this massive thing, and I estimated that it being around 75 pounds, and I was actually pretty close. So what I did was I centered it, and I made it about 2 inches wide, and roughly about 1 inch deep, with an angle to hold the frame up. So when you hang it on the wall, the angle will be away from the wall, and you can just set the frame in the notch and it'll fall down on it and hold it secure. Here I'm just working out my measurements and getting my marking gauges ready. Now I'm squaring off the ends, and I started using a mortising chisel, and I got a little bit in there and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. It was just too hard on the tool, and so I went ahead and put a bit in the router, and now I'm going to go ahead and route it out here in a second. I think you can see me walking the chisel back and forth, and it was going to take me forever, and we needed to get this done in a timely manner, so I went ahead and got the plunge router out. And I just stayed a little bit away from the line. I freehanded the entire thing and just took out about 1/8 of an inch each time. If I did any more, the bit screamed, and it did not work so well. So just take off a little bit, especially in these hardwoods. So I just go back and forth, and I try to find a way that went quite well without the bit trying to run off on me, because it spins in one direction, and when you go that way, it'll the router will chase. So this produced quite a bit of dust, and I wish I had some kind of dust extraction for it, but you can see the bench getting pretty loaded with dust there. But here I kept a pretty good concentration, because the deeper you go, it's harder to see your line. But I just kind of worked my way to my final depth. Looks like here I'm leaving little reliefs because the shavings need to go somewhere. So I just do a little circle every now and then. But this is a Bosch plunge router. It works quite well, and I'm really pleased with it. Definitely has a lot of power, and I think this probably cut out 3 hours worth of work if I would have done it all by hand. But there will be some handwork cutting in the angle. Here I continue to route out the final depth of the front of the cleat. I think here I'm taking off a little bit more than I should, but I didn't stop. That's why it's taking me a little bit longer. But now I gotta go back to take it to the line, and that'll have to be done by hand. So I just use a variety of chisels, and lo and behold, it was the same width as my largest chisel. And you'll see here in a minute the drawbacks of working with such a hard piece of timber. It is very hard on your tools, but I slowly work to the line on all four sides and get it exactly where I want it. Another key thing, oh, here's the big chip, and I spared you guys the sharpening process, but I had to get that chip out. But I'm just using, there's a mortising chisel. I had to take out quite a bit there on the corner. It was on a pretty extreme angle. But just patiently work your way around, cleaning up the bottom. Bottom's already dead flat, but just cleaning out the edges, make sure they're crisp, so when you put the piece in, that just lays perfectly in there. Here I'm just double checking my line, scribing it, so it's really crisp and I can get the chisel in there. Here you can see me putting the square up to the chisel to make sure I'm going straight down for the final cuts. And I check periodically to make sure that it's straight up and down and square. It's kind of a long process, but I wanted it to be perfect, not have any problems when they go to hang it. That looks pretty good to me, I think. A few adjustments. That's just a small machinist square. And it worked quite well. Using kind of a slicing technique that works quite well for me, and it stays right in line. So I used the previous flat spot, put the chisel there, and then I slowly bring it back and it maintains that line. Here's the depth. It's about 1/8 of an inch deep, and that's where I'm going to start my angle going downwards to the back of the frame. So here's a skew chisel that I define my corners. I got a left and a right one. But I slowly work. I take a little bit off from the top, then I go back, flip the chisel over, and get it from the bottom, and then pull up my waist and keep working it up to that line until I'm satisfied of the depth and the angle that I have. That's a Japanese push chisel. It's really not meant for what I'm doing, but it worked quite well. Here's the insert. Right now I'm taking using a Stanley 78 to take out the majority of the waste, and I'll come back and add a 45 with just a hand plane by eye, and then slowly fit it in there and make sure it fits perfect. And the way they're going to mount this is they're going to put screws in it and countersink them and then mount it to the wall, hopefully in studs. Just checking for straightness, and so everything that I do has got to be perfectly smooth and nice, even if it's going to be hidden. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share with your friends, and stay tuned for the next video. Please help us hit 100 subs. I'd really appreciate it, and have a great day.